right, so we are here for episode 2 of season 2, Mayor. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Episode 2, season 2. Good stuff.
Right. So we have a couple guests today. You want to go ahead and talk about who we got on for this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a great episode coming up. We have the superintendent of Newark Public Schools, Roger Leon. We coming up talking about, going back to school and what to expect and what our kids and teachers and all the staff can expect as they get back to school. We have Adina Bale, in recognition of Black Business Month last month, but there's also an opportunity for us to talk to her about some of the projects she got coming up in the city of Newark and some of the things that she's already accomplished here. So we have 2 great people on for us today.
Right, I'm excited about this episode. It's going to be really, I think we're going to have some good conversations today. Right?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go into the community updates. Let's get started on talking about COVID. So the city is still offering free COVID testing, of course. And if people, want the most accurate updates, it's best to watch your Facebook Lives every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 o'clock sharp. You want to talk a little bit about the test positivity rate?
Yeah, our test positivity rate has just been increasing slowly. We've been anywhere between 3 and 6% last month or so. So, it's been teetering up and down, and we want to make sure that we continue to go down. We came down a long way since we started instituting vaccinations. We want to stay down at that level. The last vaccination update in the city, our last episode, we was talking about 60% of Newarkers 12 and up. So it's back with 66% of Newarkers 12 and up have at least 1 shot, and 55% have received are fully vaccinated. So 55% are fully vaccinated, and 66% 12 and up have at least 1 shot. And 70% of all Newarkers 18 and up have at least 1 shot.
That's good news. Really good news.
Yeah, it's great news. I mean, it'll help us curb this variant that's running around here in the city.
All right. Some more interesting news is the marijuana legalization here in Newark. Newark is opting in to legalize the sale and use of recreational marijuana. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the city council just voted, passed our ability to regulate the legalization of marijuana, how to use marijuana in the city. So I shouldn't say regulate the legalization. The state has already legalized marijuana, the use, the sale, the distribution of it, the production of it. And municipalities have the ability to opt out or kind of regulate it themselves even further, tax it, figure out where it's going to go in the city and where it can't go. And I think it's prudent for us and the city council. I'm glad that they voted to regulate what's going to happen here in the city of Newark.
All right, so let's move on to the eviction moratorium. Since COVID, has started, since the pandemic took place, or it has been taking place, people have had a hard time paying their rent. And I know the city held 2 information sessions about the eviction moratorium. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so we've been helping people with rent for a very long time now, since COVID has, come upon us. This is our 4th iteration, I believe. We have had 2, as you said, information sessions. We'll be paying people's back rent for about 12 months. Up to 12 months, we'll be able to pay up to March 1st, 2020. You'll be able to get back rent paid for. You just have to go to NewarkCovid19.com, NewarkCovid19.com, and you'll be able to register there for that. And normally, these reasons would be cause for eviction if you don't pay your rent and all these other kind of things. Now, the moratorium exists in a state that tells people that you can't evict people right now, but that's coming to an end.
Right.
And as that comes to an end, people have to figure out how to pay their rent, or you will be evicted if you don't get your rent paid. So the programs that we have are important in terms of helping people pay their rent, their back rent.
Right. And Newark is a renter's city, so it's like, it's very helpful, you know, that we are pushing this information out there for people.
Yeah, over 70% of Newark is rent, so it's crucial for us.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the Nj Njfam Fund. The Invest Newark held a press conference this week about announcing its first deal leveraging funding from key investors such as Bank of America, AT&T, Panasonic, RWJ, Barnabas Health, and Shaquille O'Neal. The project will include partnership with the United Community Corporation. Do you want to elaborate a little on that?
Yeah, I mean, we have been getting money coming in. We are still trying to raise more dollars, specifically targeted at black and brown businesses in the city and developers, black and brown developers in the city as well. United Community Corporation is getting ready to develop some city-owned parcels. The FAM Fund is going to help fill the gap and some of their financing and at very low interest kind of loans that a lot of these folks can't get capital. Businesses can't get capital from banks because banks don't give them the capital either because of their balance sheet or because of historical experience or just straight out discrimination. So we are going to fill in that gap and try to help some of these businesses get access to capital. That's really what the FAM Fund is about. And so United Community Corporation is the first, business that's not to be nonprofit that's going to benefit from the FAM Fund in terms of development.
Right. And I thought it was interesting because the FAM Fund started out as a Newark. Newark started it, and now it's expanded to New Jersey, right?
Yeah, and so it allows all of the major cities in New Jersey to benefit from it. So if you're a black and brown business in any of those cities, you can actually apply for the FAM Fund dollars.
All right, so let's move on to Hispanic Heritage Month here in Newark. It is, it's taking place from September 15th to October 15th. You want to go over some of the events people can look forward to?
Yeah, there's an invitation-only dinner September the 15th happening. September 22nd is an award scholarship presentation by Latina Civic Action President Patricia Campos. There's a free concert by India from 5 to 9 p.m. in Monterey Commons. The 29th is food distribution at Vince Lombardi Center. And Wednesday, we're having a book bag and book giveaway at Vince Lombardi Center as well. And there'll be an exhibition at the Newark Public Library like we always do. So it's going to be a full week of events, and people should participate, have fun, learn a little bit more about Hispanic culture and heritage in our city.
Moving right along. We can discuss water, get a little water update. We are still moving along with the lead service line replacements. The city has exceeded their goal, right, of 18,000?
Yeah, way past the goal of, 18,000, a little over 18,000 was what we had on paper in terms of lead service lines that we knew about. We actually went out and searched for more lead service lines, and so we're at 21,000. We are anticipating being finished with that in September. So I'm glad we did that, and so when we put the flag down, we'll be a little bit more sure that we've actually pulled up every lead service line in the city.
Right. And if people want to track the progress, they could just check out NewarkLeadServiceLine.com, right?
Yeah, Newark Lead. And if you want to see about your home, you can type your own address in. When you get there, it'll tell you what's going on at your house. And you can still contact the water department. And folks that are a little nervous about their water, you can contact the water department. You can get your water tested for free. You can get the water department to come out to see if you have a lead service line for free as well. So all of those are services that the city provides, and you should take advantage of it, especially if you're skeptical about anything that's going on with your water in the house.
Right. All right. So I wanted to take this time for you to openly discuss any topics that may be on your mind, anything you want people to know about.
No, I think that basically, there's a lot going on this summer, and I think we've had more events this summer than we've ever had in the city in a long time. It's been running us ragged, but I think it's been worth it.
Right.
All these events that have been going on, from opera to club to jazz, just a variety of different things that have been happening in the city. And I'm happy for it. All the parks are being used, basketball games, soccer games, games. I went to an ice hockey practice tournament. Young kids from Newark, young people playing ice hockey. I mean, so it's been an incredible summer, and prayerfully we can duplicate this summer. We had carnivals in playgrounds. The carnival at Avon Avenue School was tremendous. I mean, DJ Little Man did his Occupy the Youth Block Youth Tour, which was well attended. Young people loved it. So I'm happy about what we did this summer. Prayerfully we could do that every summer.
A lot of great things that you had the all white affair for the seniors.
Yeah,
you had the
all white affair was tremendous.
The Newark Under the Stars pop-up dinner was nice too.
Yeah, it was very nice, and it rained on us, but it was nice.
Yeah, so I think everybody had a good time this summer. We could definitely say that. So, do you want to take this time to welcome one of our first guests?
Yep. We want to welcome Roger Leon, who was born in the city of Newark. Grew up here, remains a proud product of Newark Board of Education. 25 years of service. He's been in Newark Public Schools with our young people. He went to Science High School, unfortunately. No, he went to Science High School. I went to university, so, we're glad to have him on here to talk about Newark. One thing, you could say whatever you want about the superintendent, but you can't say he don't love the city of Newark or Newark's children, that's for sure. So we're glad to have him, Roger Leon.
Right.
Okay, so we glad to have you up here with us, Superintendent Leon.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad you could be here. Before we start talking about the school system and jumping into that, I just want to give you an opportunity to talk about your background, who you are, and how long you've been in public schools in Newark.
Oh my goodness. So parents arrived in this country in the 60s. I was born in the South Ward at St. Michael's Hospital, in fact. We lived on Clinton Avenue. I have 3 older sisters, and they wound up being a little upset because somewhere about a year and a half, my parents divorced, and since I was the new one in the family, they thought I had something to do with that. My mom raised my 3 older sisters and me on welfare since that time until I turned 18, so she is my hero. Moved to the Hawkins Street area of our city, went to Hawkins Street School, then Science High School. Went to Rutgers. I was supposed to be a doctor. My mom was a little upset with me, but she's gotten over it since then. And I taught at Hawkins, taught at Rafael Hernandez School, became principal of Dr. Horton School for 4 years, principal of your alma mater, University High School, for 6 years. Obviously, you weren't there, but you were one of our incredible basketball coaches when I did, in fact, arrive. I've been 11 years as an assistant superintendent and finished up my 3rd year as a superintendent of schools, living and realizing my dream, which is to make sure that the dreams of all of the children in the city of Newark are realized as well.
That's an incredible story, and you went through the entire Newark public school system, brother. Yeah, that's great. Just give people a background of who you are, so they know, as I said before you came, that your love for the city can't be challenged. September 7th is first day of school, right?
That's right.
What should people expect?
Well, I think people should understand that the principals return on August 2nd, that the vice principals and department chairpersons return on August 11th, that we have been in school since last summer. So last summer, 2020, we actually had 2 sites, First Avenue School and 13th Avenue School, were our summer school program sites where everyone was in person, students as well as staff. We were experiencing hybrid instruction during that point in time. School has been back in session in person since April 12th, 2021, and that the record of the work that we've been doing, whether it's testing every week, providing opportunities for testing, or sharing what the city is doing as it relates to testing and vaccinations, has been super critical. We have distributed, during the course of that whole entire time period, over 4.5 million meals. We distributed over 28,000 Chromebooks so that the students would have technology at home. And obviously we've provided Wi-Fi access for them. That kind of gets us to what we've done. In terms of our readiness for this school year, our Safe Return Plan has been something that has been in place We will have Chromebooks for every single student that is in the district so that there won't be any need. Even if they have technology at home, we're providing it for them. We're also providing free Wi-Fi access for anybody who gets our Chromebooks. The schools are in the process of finishing up in their summer cleaning, as well as the intensified cleaning that is required to get our schools ready. We have signage all over the place. We've provided professional development for teachers during the course of the summer. We've written a lot of curriculum. So there are a lot of incredible changes that we're going to be providing students as it relates to instruction. One of the things that we obviously know about this horrible, evil virus is that not only has there been potential learning loss, but we know that everybody has experienced loss. Every single student lost their friends because they couldn't see them in school anymore. So grieving, we have a lot of grieving that's occurring. We have staff that's grieving. And so there's a lot of intentional training that is occurring for our staff and incredible opportunities that we'll be providing students starting on the 7th of September that will help them. But one of the things that we've learned with our 10-year strategic plan is we're not waiting for the moment. All of the high school students have returned back or are returning back during the course of these last couple of weeks, meeting with their principals, getting their schedules ready, and creating the type of confidence that is necessary for our return. Safety and the health of all of our students and staff obviously is our top priority. We think we've done this already. We don't think we're cocky about it. We're clear that the most constant experience we have had with COVID-19 has been change, and so we will adjust as obviously is necessary.
Right. So I want to ask a question. So as far as, like you did say, that a lot of students and teachers experience loss, what are you doing to, I guess, help boost the morale of like the school setting for students?
Oh my goodness. So we know that this is a new normal. And so trying to create some of the experiences, whether it's in athletics, which is one of our very, very important realities, competitions. So we, in a virtual way, provided those opportunities for students. And so we've kind of maximized a lot of our own learning as it relates to remote instruction, things of that nature. So our efforts are to try to get back to what we're calling the new normal in the safest way possible. So school won't necessarily be exactly like it has been prior to COVID-19, and we'll make exerted efforts to be better. So promoting a lot of the school clubs and things of that nature we know is important to our students, and I think we found a way to provide them with that experience and still be safe and worrying about their health at the same time.
Good stuff. So this year, parents are not going to have a choice to say they want to go virtual.
As of right now, there isn't that option for remote instruction.
Right. And so everybody has to come to school and get ready to learn in the building. That's for sure. And the Board of Education is preparing for the possibility of further increase in COVID cases this fall. Or do you think if that happens, will the school district be ready, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that's extremely important, and I appreciate, this time and the question, is that as we can see all across the country, some schools are closing, some classrooms are closing, some offices in school buildings are closing, and everyone's like, oh my God, this is scary. Of course it's scary, because it is scary. One of the things that we've done, and we did it last summer, we actually closed the whole school. Everybody was out of the school for a couple of days. So I would want to remind everyone that we have district protocols that are listed on the district's website, and one of the protocols is if we feel it is necessary to close a school, a classroom, or office, we're going to do it. So we don't want people to get scared, and I know it's scary when that does happen, but that we will in fact continue to provide instruction to those students. In those instances, instruction will continue remotely in that case, because that is in fact allowed. But I don't want people to get scared when it happens. It is only occurring because that is what we've determined is the best thing to do to protect the health and safety of everyone involved.
Where will people, how will they stay informed about all of the changes that's going on?
So one of the things that we've done, and I know that this may be even very confusing to a lot of people, is that we have stayed the course. So I have only made communications to students, families, and staff when I was changing something that I felt was dramatic. So we know that the whole event is dramatic, and we know that people experiencing, oh, you wear a mask, oh, you don't wear a mask, oh, you wear a mask, oh, you don't wear a mask. We have not removed the mask mandate at all, because based on the science, it is one of the strongest mitigating factors. We know that the strongest mitigating factor is obviously getting vaccinated, so I remind everyone that of all of the opportunities that are being provided throughout the whole entire city, as well as in our schools, regardless of your child attending that school. So we have vaccination sites all throughout the city and throughout our schools. And I remind our students that the Vaccines for Teens initiative is alive and well, and I'm reminding them to obviously come to any of our schools to get vaccinated as well. So ultimately, creating the safe space is the ultimate strategy, and then providing the opportunities for everyone to know that that's the case is critical towards accomplishing our goals.
All right. Okay.
We want to switch away from COVID to start talking about the curriculum a little bit. Anything new that people should expect this year coming up?
Oh my goodness, is there anything new? Oh, wow. The school system has been under 25 years of operation, state operation, and one of the things that we've done with our needs assessments on all areas, in particular the instructional program, is realizing that in some instances there aren't books. Now, obviously, you're much younger than us, but being online and having textbooks online is very, very weird for perhaps not so much the mayor, but definitely me and older people. So making sure that we're providing rich literature to our students is what we've done. So Mayor, on the convocation next Tuesday, you're going to see there are over 100 new curriculum that we have written for our students. One of the things that I'm really excited about, and I know the mayor will be excited about, is that we provide high school students dual enrollment opportunities. So that's taking college classes while they're in high school. Last year, we saved the parents over $3.5 million by offering college classes to students and the district flipping the bill. But we've never had a partnership with a school, with a higher education partner outside of the state of New Jersey. It's always been incredible people. Obviously, the chancellor of Rutgers has been always awesome. You have the president of NJIT who has added some really new, innovative initiatives. And then Essex County College that always provided a focus in the middle grades, as well as college courses for high school students as well. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but we're offering dual enrollment classes. I apologize to our great, incredible president at Howard University, but Howard University has in fact partnered with the school district.
That's awesome.
And we'll be offering college classes that are offered at Howard here in the city of Newark. So
That's great.
Nice.
we know that that's important to the mayor, but it had absolutely no doing with the mayor, although I know that the mayor would be in full support of those types of initiatives. So those are the types of incredible things that we're offering on the academic front. We also know that the summer has occurred, so there's this research on summer slide. So students being away from school for 2 months, but we know students have been away from school for 17 months in some instances. So the tutoring strategy that we have is extremely important. We have been providing tutoring opportunities all throughout the entire pandemic. And obviously now that everyone's back in school, we will be continuing to offer those opportunities to students after school, before school, and on Saturdays. And we're excited about that.
All right. Can you talk a little bit about the Newark School of Fashion and Design?
Yes.
I've seen that on
Do you see
social
my
media.
tie? Yeah, it's all about fashion at Fashion and Design High School. So we are opening up a number of new high schools to really reimagine our school system. One of the things that occurred over time is that students would walk in the mornings to the school that was closest to their house. And so when the system changed and said that no longer is the case, the schools that were waiting on children to walk have found themselves closed because there are children who are now deciding that they could walk past a school that isn't performing and go to another school that's offering something different. So the same thing has happened in our strategy. So we've all created all new schools. This Fashion High School, Misa Hilton is our lead partner. She has done an absolutely incredible job with our students already. So our students have been in the city, in New York City, going to her camp, and then she brought herself and her team to the city of Newark. It's to really emphasize and tap into the genius of our students. Let me tell you, when you go to Fashion High School, you will see on our bulletin boards the design of 13-year-olds. And I'm talking about, she's looking at their work and she's saying, this is worth money right now. So we're going to be excited. Perhaps some of the students could do a design for the mayor that, when he is out in maybe one of the city's addresses or something like that, that the children of Newark have created his dress. I'm definitely excited, to try always look. I don't know, this on camera. I'm always trying to look good, So these students are all students who have a sense of fashion, who have an appreciation of self, who understand that they are worthy. So when I met with them the other day, the whole entire freshman class, because there's only 9th graders in the school, and we'll enroll 1 grade at a time, I saw exactly what I expected. So I had students with red hair and green hair, purple hair.
Creative.
I had students that had a rip in their clothes, but it didn't look like it was from a door, like it had intentionality. That's what I have at this high school, and it is going to open doors for other students.
This is a new school. Where is it located?
So it's a new school. It's located at 239 Woodside Avenue. I don't think that we have any open seats for the school, but you can check through Newark Enrolls. If you're an 8th grader who's looking for a high school, definitely we'll create a high school for you.
So the fashion of design, school fashion design is what grades?
So right now it only has freshmen, and it will grow 1 class at a time all the way until we have the senior class of 2025.
Can you talk a little bit about the Michelle Obama school?
Oh my goodness. You don't know. When I met Michelle Obama, and I know that the mayor had met her as well when he was the South Fork councilman, just being in her presence was absolutely incredible, amazing. And so we wanted to create a school that spoke to high expectations, a school that spoke to demanding of students more than ever before, allowing students to know that being in Newark is not a destination estimation, but in fact that it was a great way to showcase the greatness that is in our city. So I'll give you this example, and hopefully it'll make sense. In the Michelle Obama School, part of what the planning was in the curriculum was to have our students in Newark help homeless people in Newark. And see, that's unfortunately what people think happens in Newark, that people in Newark only worry about issues in Newark, and that's our circumference. Nope. The children at the Michelle Obama School will go to Livingston, New Jersey, Short Hills, to Milburn, and help feed the homeless there. That's what those students will do. That they will understand that while we have incredible needs in the city of Newark, and we won't ever shortchange that the children of Newark are that great, that they can go into more affluent school districts, more affluent cities, and provide them with help. That our children in Newark are that good that they can go help somebody else outside of Newark with whatever their problems are. And I have to share with you, to have received the letter from the Obamas letting them know that this was approved was one of the most exciting moments that I have had thus far.
Right. That's amazing. Amazing. So they wrote you a personal...
Yeah, so
wow.
the letter, I'm going to show my letter on Tuesday, just so everyone could see, has authorized the school, authorized the use of the name Michelle Obama. I don't know if she's listening to this or how does this all work.
Let's hope so.
So we will definitely welcome Michelle Obama to Michelle Obama Elementary School at any point in time. The school is starting in pre-K, and it'll grow students every year. So we are up to second grade now, and every year we'll enroll a new grade.
And what, where is it located?
It'll go all the way up to 8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade,
It's
okay.
located currently at the former 14th Avenue School location. We had a technical issue with regards to the address of that school because it was supposed to be at another part of our city in the heart of the South Ward. And so hopefully if we get that matter resolved one way or another, she might be able to go back to her actual home. So I wasn't expecting that question, but we might jinx that answer.
So before we wrap this part of it up, I just, July 1st, 2020, State Board of Education voted unanimously to return Newark to full local control. And they also said something about the performance of the school district as well. I'd like you to talk a little bit about that and how important that really is.
So, school system had been state operation over 20 years. On February 1st, 2018, the transition plan was in effect. It was a 2-year plan. We successfully completed everything that was outlined in there. And so on July 1st, 2018, one of the final acts of Commissioner Repollette, and I'm just so extremely grateful to him now as president of Kane University, to have found it to be something in his repertoire of what he left as an incredible commissioner in our State Board of Education. And that was multifold. So it was return to local control that allows the residents of the city of Newark to be in control of their destiny as it relates to my incredible Board of Education. And they are, in fact, incredible, all 9 members, starting with the leadership of our board president. But in addition, one of the things that we were recognized for was meeting all of the standards that all high-performing school districts in New Jersey meet. So there is a standard for all boards of education. Some are high-performing school districts, some are not, and some are much less than that. And so we were in the much less than that category, and I send a special message to all of those superintendents that with their hard work, their commitment to excellence, being steadfast, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not necessarily a train coming at them. Ultimately, at the end, we pride ourselves to be highlighted as a high-performing school district in the state of New Jersey, and we will commit ourselves tirelessly every day to continue that incredible reality every day for every child, in every class, in every grade, in every school, regardless of the type of school, private, parochial, charter, early, and any of our provider sites. All of the district schools included in that effort.
That's great, man. It's exciting, all the stuff that's happening in Newark Public Schools. I think young people have a lot of options now, a lot of opportunity. That's great for us, and we're going to get through this pandemic because we're not going to let the pandemic slow us down. So I appreciate you being on here. You got any last thing you want to say?
No, we appreciate this time. Obviously, getting information to everyone is extremely important. I have, on more than one occasion, applauded you for your leadership. You know how proud I am of you. The fact that a little boy from Newark grows up to be an incredible man and a great mayor, and the fact that we are in good hands is evidenced by the realities of the last 17 months. You have my full support, whatever we need to do in the school system in partnership with the city of Newark to let all of the residents know that this is a virus that will not win. The district is all in.
That's right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Superintendent.
sir.
Appreciate you coming on our show.
Appreciate you. Thank you for the time.
Yeah. All right, we ready? Yeah. Welcome our second guest today. Dina Bayo is a business owner, developer, friend, lover of this community, a successful entrepreneur here in the city of Newark that we want to welcome to our show. Urban vegan right across the street from City Hall. I see a lot of you guys in City Hall eating out of there. IHOP as well, and cornbread, and a incredible building as well that is also there. In total, I think you own about 8 restaurants or so nationally. So without further ado, I don't want to steal your shine. Let's welcome our second guest, Dina Bayo, and let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you've done.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here. Yeah.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
So, welcome to our show, and just a couple of questions. You want to talk about how you gotta be nervous. Talk about how your career got started. How about that in real estate?
Yeah, I think it started really, if I was to think about it, my career in real estate really started in some remote village in Africa. Yeah. And, my grandmother, she owned a lot of stuff in our little village. She had a restaurant, she had real estate, and she would just send me every now and then to go collect rent. I didn't know what I was collecting, but it was rent at like 6 years old. So I think I started my real estate career, if you go by Malcolm Gladwell, doing the 10,000 hours, I want to say somewhere in Africa. And it just became a natural part of who I was. If I wasn't doing that, I was working in her restaurant. I was always around business, women in business. That was my life, women in business.
So that was like early on in your life, around 6 years old, you seen all that great example of your grandmother.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Right.
So a lot of people do real estate, or they do like the business stuff, the restaurants. You decided to do both.
Yeah.
Why do you think that you wanted to do both of those things?
I think it was accidental, right? I think my first IHOP, I didn't start out to do no IHOP. I just wanted to build it, And then I think it said when you make plans, God laugh. And he just kind of propelled me. The universe just kind of put me in this situation where I had to act. And that was really my first IHOP, opened up in 2007 in Irvington. And I replaced a diner that was there for about 72 years that didn't let Black people eat there.
Wow.
In Irvington.
And the owner was so kind to tell me that story.
Wow.
And it felt so good when the IHOP opened, because I just kept that in my mind that, wow, the ancestors are happy today.
I know that's right. Yeah. So was it difficult for you to do all of this stuff? Was it difficult?
Oh yeah. I think it's always difficult. I think everything that you do is difficult, but there's no substitute for like hard work and tenacity. I think that difficulty for me has been a space where I've occupied, right, Jua? That's right. I think difficult for me is a space that I occupy differently. I think I look at everything as an opportunity. I'm not easily deterred by anything. So when difficulty comes, I kind of look at it as, it's preparing me for something greater.
Right.
Yeah.
So you went from real estate to owning a restaurant. How early did you start off in real estate?
Wow, I bought my first house at 21.
Wow.
Yeah, when I graduated college, I was living with my dad, and I was living with my parents, like, no, And my dad, you either have to get married or you have to buy a house to get out. And you have 2 years to live in his house. So I'm like, how am I supposed to get married in 2 years? But I did that. I bought a house in like 2 years and I got out.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think about 21, I bought my first house in Irvington.
Okay. Was it a multifamily, a single family?
It was a multifamily. My dad, we were living in, we still have our house in Newark. And we had a multifamily there, and I bought a multifamily in Irvington.
Mm-hmm. So how did the real estate, how did your interest grow over the years? Like after that first house, did you buy more or?
Yeah. When I bought that first house, it was a 3-family. So I rented the top levels and I lived literally like
Right.
in the basement. And I was working at the bank at the time, and I had 2 jobs. I would go work at the bank. After the bank, I would come and literally do my real estate stuff. I started looking at properties, and I think I had a house a year later. I bought another 3-family, and it just kind of catapulted, and I would start doing these rehabs. Like I would buy a property in like the worst part of town, and I would just make it so beautiful, and rent it out.
Right.
So I had done so many of those by the time I went to my first high rise. Yeah.
That's interesting because I feel like now it's very popular to do that, but probably, years ago it probably wasn't as well known that was a good way to build wealth and, to build, a career in real estate.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you, why did you choose IHOP out of all of the, it just happened that way, or you actually went out and said, I want to do IHOP?
So when I was in college, I went to Philly Dickinson University. There was an IHOP literally like 2 blocks from my dorm, and we used to study there. We used to stay there late, and we used to make like these, we'd ask for lemon and water, and then we use the sugar to do the lemonade, and then we'll get kicked out. So when I came back to my city, I wanted that same experience a little bit. So it was in conversation with the then mayor, Wayne Smith, when the diner came up for sale, and I told him the story about what I used to do at IHOP. He said, well, why don't you make the diner IHOP? And I said, yeah, that's a really good idea. Why don't I do that? And actually, no, the story about the IHOP was my girlfriend came from D.C. to visit me, and we went, she said, why don't we go to IHOP? Because we used to do it all the time in college. We went to the IHOP on 22, and it was like some ridiculous wait. It was like, an hour. We came back on Bergen Street. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. And I was just so pissed. And I called the mayor the next day to, tell him my problems, how upset I was, and you got to fix this problem, and blah, blah. He's like, no, why don't you fix it? Why don't you bring us an IHOP here saying you don't want to wait? I was like, okay, fine. I'll buy the diner, and I'll call the guy that owned the IHOP on Bergen Street and let him rent the building from me and put his IHOP in it.
That's smart.
So I called him, and the conversation was like, why would I do that? I'm in Newark. I'm good. I don't need to be in Irvington. I'm good. So he pissed me off. He pissed me off real bad, and I said, fine, I'll do it myself.
So how does a person purchase an IHOP franchise? How does that even work? What is the process like?
It's probably crazy. Franchising is rough, isn't it?
It's rough. It's very rough. And it's embarrassing when I say that in the IHOP system, I am probably the only Black woman in the whole Northeast that own her own IHOP franchises.
Wow.
And it's embarrassing in 2021 that we're still having the first conversation or the only conversation, right? Mm-hmm. So, the barrier to entry into the franchise system is very hard if you don't have that generational wealth behind you. If you don't have the real estate holding, you don't have the liquidity. What really helped me out, believe it or not, was I had tons of property, right, that I was saving up. Mm-hmm. And that's what made me the ideal candidate for IHOP. And that's why I sit here today and saying, yeah, I was able to get that IHOP because I had a high net worth. And quite naturally, I'm not a spender. I don't go buy. So I had liquidity in my account. And I had the ability to go get liquidity if I wanted to.
Because of the real estate.
Because of the real estate.
Right.
And I think that is why it's so important as we, in our community, we start having that real conversation about real estate and what it does for you, what it does for your net worth, what it does for liquidity, what it does for when people look at your risk profile. It's much easier for them to say, well, if you run into trouble, you at least have your house to bail you out. You at least have your house to go get a line of credit. And I think that's why it's so important that we create more homeowners in these cities and help out whenever we can. And then on the franchise side, I sit on many boards on IHOP, and I'm helping them to create a pathway to get more minority and more women into the system, particularly women of color.
Right.
And then also my brand, Cornbread, we're franchising it. So we'll put more women out there and show people that particularly women of color, given the opportunity, we can outperform our peers on so many levels.
Right.
So you're gonna start your own franchise. You worked at a franchise, now you're gonna start your own franchise.
Absolutely. It's already started, you know. It's already started.
Right,
It's just,
right.
you know me, I like things to be really perfect.
Yeah.
The food is good though, like cornbred.
Oh, thank you.
And urban vegan. I tried the that wrap. the ribbon. The day you had cut the ribbon, I was like, let me go over there.
Yeah, it's for me, it's about quality. I think I want to be known for someone that really put out quality things, be it my buildings, be it my restaurant, be it my interaction with people. I want to create quality.
Right.
So I want that to live throughout, you know, what I'm doing. And I do drive people crazy because I would sit on the idea for a long time, and then when it happens, someone's like, "Oh, that just happened." No, it didn't. It's been in my head for like 8 years.
All right. So how did you start the cornbread restaurant? I know the first one was in Maplewood. Then now you have one in Newark. How did that idea come about?
So I'll give you the short version.
Okay.
We have time for the long version. I was mad at IHOP. I think that when me particularly, and at the time they had stopped the Bergen Street one from selling the soul food.
Yeah.
We
I
were,
remember that.
Yeah, the soul food was good.
Yeah.
That was the only place, only IHOP you could get soul food from.
Yeah.
We was particularly the only one in the system that was selling soul food. So, and that's the thing I think sometimes people don't understand. When you are successful, people start to give reason why you're successful. My IHOP was like doing top numbers. I mean, I was successful on so many levels. We were successful on sales, quality control, customer service. And then people started thinking that the reason why I was so successful was because IHOP was letting me sell soul food.
Right.
And you know, and I see this all throughout my career. If I'm successful at something, well, there's got to be a reason why she's successful. It's not just because of her own hard work.
Right.
And then people start poking at you and putting obstacles in your way
Right.
sort of see your demise, right? So some guys in the IHOP system went and made a complaint to IHOP and say, you're disadvantaging us by allowing her to sell the soul food. That's why her numbers are so high. So IHOP kind of came down on me. I got a letter, cease and desist, you got to stop selling the soul food. Mind you, at the time, our soul food about 20% of our sales in the whole IHOP system, 20%. So you have a store, I don't want to put my numbers out there, that's doing north of over a couple of $1 million. 20% of that's a huge number, right?
Yeah.
So they just came down and said, you got to stop selling the soul food because we're getting a lot of flack from the other franchisees.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's not how this conversation is going to work. We're going to come up with a compromise, because the reason I started selling the soul food in IHOP in the first place because our menu wasn't diverse.
Right.
And I cannot be serving a community and not giving them the things that they want. This whole one shoe fit everybody got to stop.
Yeah, that's true.
IHOP should have been smart.
So, not the menu. The compromise wasn't even a compromise. They would say you could sell the fish, you'll sell grits, and that's it. And I felt like powerless a little bit, and I always think challenges and hard time is that God would either you'll remove yourself from a situation or he'll remove you.
Right.
So when that happened, I already had the numbers. I knew what the soul food market people was looking for. So I said, why don't I go ahead and open a soul food restaurant? Why do I need to sell it at an IHOP?
At IHOP, right.
It was just me being comfortable, not wanting to really take a leap of faith.
Right.
So I said, why don't I go ahead and do it? And cornbread came from the name because when I was selling the soul food at IHOP, every time you bought a soul food, we used to have this we took the IHOP corn pancake and made it into our cornbread. So I used to sell the cornbread cake with all the soul food, so customers loved it. So I said, you know what, I'll just name it cornbread. So
That was smart.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great story too. You know, these people always try to get in the way, and the perseverance. I think that's important. That
absolutely.
talk a little bit about, you know, if you can, perseverance in this business, because people, they use every little obstacle as an excuse not to do anything.
No. No.
Yeah.
No, you can't. And especially when you're in business, you're going to have real hard time. You're going to say, a lot of people are going to say no to you. Don't be deterred by your no. And sometimes, you know, it's hard saying that when you're not the one experiencing it on the other side.
Right.
So I preface that by saying, be vulnerable, but find motivation through those no's and persevere and push ahead through the hard times, right? Like, for example, when I first went to finance my first IHOP, nobody would kind of like give me any money because to them, when I started, I was like 24. I had no restaurant experience. I'll argue that because I work at McDonald's. And all of the banks were just like, what are you doing? You think we'll give you $2.5 million? Like,
Right.
no, we're not doing it. And every time someone would say that, and the reason why they would say that is because they hadn't seen me. They didn't know what a young black franchise woman looked like. So when people say no to you, understand sometimes it's a limitation of their imagination, what they haven't seen before.
Yep.
So when I would go to a bank and I would say we're looking for a loan, and they would see me and it would just be like, no, I haven't seen that one before. Right? So it's not usually about you, but you gotta stay boxing and keep your focus on your goals. And your goals have to be the things that fuel you, that keep you going.
So when did you get the yes? For that, you know.
I like my 7th bank.
Okay, so you kept going.
I kept going, and I think, but this is why I think also representation matter.
Right.
I got the yes from a sister. She is, at the time, she was the only black woman in the IHOP system.
Wow.
In the franchising system. Only one, and she's still there today. She called me because before you get a yes in IHOP, Nicole got to say yes to you. If she doesn't, it doesn't happen. So she had already said yes to me. 2 years later, I'm still willy-nilly trying to find a bank to say yes to me. So she called me one day, and I remember this because I was coming from the Newark Y, working out, coming out. Nicole calls me. It was like around 6:30 our time. She's in California. And she says to me, Adina, when are you opening up the store? It's been 2 years. And I kind of said to her, literally, Nicole, no bank will lend to me. Nobody will lend to me. And I kind of broke down crying to her because it had been such an emotional roller coaster. You got to imagine getting a bunch of no. And I'm not just saying like quick no's. This is like we'll go through a 90 days, 4-month process, and someone will come back and say no.
They couldn't give you a reason though?
Yeah, they'll give me a reason. You don't have the experience. You haven't done this before. It was never about my credit. It was never about my liquidity at the time. It was just no because I don't have the experience. It got so bad, I started working at an IHOP part-time for free. Because I wanted to check that box off that say I don't have the experience. I wanted to say I'm working at an IHOP now.
Right.
So Nicole was like, what do you mean no one will lend to you? So she's like, are you serious? You are approved IHOP franchisee. Do they know what that means? So she says, stay by your phone. She calls another guy at the time at GE Franchise Financing in Arizona. And the only reason why she was able to call him so quickly because they had called her and said, another black guy, Marcus, called Nicole and said, hey, Nicole, we want you to help us out to be the premier lender for your IHOP franchisee. Mm-hmm. So Nicole called him and said, look, listen, if y'all want to be in the system, there's a sister in New Jersey that we're trying to get financed, but she's having a hard time. If y'all can get this deal done, then we know y'all good. So I get a call from Marcus out of nowhere. Hey, Nicole asked me to call you. You're trying to open an eye. I'm like, yes. He said, where are you? I said, no. He said, I'm going to fly out and meet you. Because now, mind you, it's not about me now. It's about them getting that IHOP contract.
Yeah.
I meet with Marcus. sent him my whole package because at this time now I have it completely ready. I sent it to him. He calls me and said, "Can you give me a $10,000 deposit?" I said, "Nah, I'm out like $60,000 just on deposits." I said, "Look at it. If y'all want to, then we can move forward." I think 5 days later, I get a commitment from them that the loan is approved. And we closed in like 35 days.
Wow.
It was difficult because they too, cover their stuff on so many levels. They had me so tied up. It was a $2.5 million loan. They asked me to bring $600,000 to the table.
Wow.
So it was at the 11th hour, I made a lot of horrible decisions just to come up with that $600,000. I liquidated every equity I liquidated my 401k plan at the time I had grown at the bank. I refinanced all of my property in like subprime mortgages. And literally I was short like $100,000. My aunt that was working at UMD&J had her 401k plan. She went and liquidated that too.
Wow.
Put that in there. And that is how I was able to come up with the money to close on that IHOP. So literally, when I opened that IHOP, I was like bankrupt. I was like literally sitting there, like in dire strait. And that is no way for anyone to go into business. But these are like decisions every day that happening to people that sort of look like me and entrepreneurs that want to do these type of things.
And looking at all the people who might have done that and were not successful.
And we're not, required to bring $600K.
Right. When that was a loan that could have been done for 5% SBA, 10% SBA.
Sure.
Crazy.
Sure. So, we have a little bit of time left. Just a couple of questions. One, you talk a little bit about the importance of partnering with people and cooperation and all this other kind of stuff.
Oh, it's so important. I've built most of my businesses around partnership because I love them. I love to, particularly now I'm getting into this space where I am partnering up with other women that are looking to come up in the same industry that I came in, and they're going to people that jacking them up, and now they're looking at me as an alternative. And that for me, that's a full circle moment, right? I want to play in that space where I am here to serve an example, so you don't have to go through the pains that I went through, because Madam CJ Walker kind of went through this so that we can see it can be done. But how can we? So partnership are extremely important, but you got to vet your partners. I'll give you a quick one. There was a project I was working on, and there was a developer I was going to work with. And I knew he had worked with another Black developer. So I don't know, God is so good. I just picked up the phone. I called him. I said, "Hey, this such and such looking to work with me. What do you think?" He said, "This your first deal with them? They're going to screw you."
Oh.
Wow.
I said, "But what do you mean?" He said, "Ask them for a term sheet. They're going to send you a term sheet. The term sheet is going to say this. And if you sign that, you will literally be done with that project and you will never see any penny." Wow. And he said they did that to me. So I tried it. I asked them for a LOI to send it to me. It was exactly what he said. But I chalked that to me having the vulnerability to reach out to someone that had been in the same space that I was about to go into and ask for advice. Like too often, we don't want to ask for the advice. But I cannot stress enough, vet the people. Even now, like I'm in real estate partnership with people that know if it wasn't for my good attorney, me asking around or having people advocate for my behalf, that they can legally, because they've been in this business, they can legally and structurally screw you out of nothing. Because they have been in this space for 50 years, we've been trying to come in this space. It's like, I forgot who said it. It's being in a baseball. They've been playing in the field, in the baseball stadium. We've been outside the stadium. We just not coming in the stadium, right?
Right.
So ask for advice. But I have some amazing partnerships. Like, Cornbread, my co-founder, Ms. Zadie, lady from Tifton, Georgia, beautiful partnership. Well, she's become like a mentor, a mom to me, just really amazing person. And now when I'm doing restaurant, it's a partnership because there's certain things people bring that you don't bring, but do your homework. Give the partnership a foundation.
Right.
And when people are not good to you, use your community to advocate for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So we're going to ask about the school system a little bit. I want to give something to advice to young people as we close out. School's about to start. What advice would you give them, right now?
Oh, wow. I'm a product of the Newark school system. I went to middle school and high school, Weequahic Indians.
Right.
One thing I will say to young people is that there is no substitute for hard work. And right now, there's so much distraction. I learned most of who I am today when I was in high school. I went to an after-school program called Quest Youth Center. I did so many after-school programs, but that program was particularly impactful to me because there was, Mrs. Carter, she was the lady in charge there. She used to do this round table with us. And she used to ask us, you're from Newark. And at the time, Newark was getting a really bad rep so what she was kind of doing for us was building us up as young kids coming up in Newark to have pride in our city. And she used to say this to us, what is it that's wrong with your city now that you can fix? She said, if money wasn't a thing and nothing was an issue, what in your city that you can fix?
That's a good question.
And we used to go through these exercises. Every week, you'll pick a theme. And it was through that exercise that I had this love for Newark that got me to, when I went to college, I would stand and introduce myself. Hi, I'm Adina Bayo from Newark, New Jersey, because she instilled that pride in us. And I knew I was going to come back to Newark. I knew I was going to come back to Newark and have an impact on this community. I knew I was going to open a restaurant in Newark. I knew I was going to help women entrepreneurs in Newark. I knew that going into college and coming from college. So I would say participate in organization. We had Close Up. They used to take us to Washington, D.C. They took us to Congress. They took us to the Senate office. I would say to young kids, be open, listen to your teachers. Right. I know it sounds corny, but listen to your teachers. They know, they've been there.
Right.
So that's my advice. Work hard and open up.
Thank you so much, Adina. Yes, so thank you for coming on Ras In 60. Mayor, you want to close out the show? Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. I want to thank, Superintendent Leon for getting on with us and Dana for sharing such wisdom and experiences with us and the listeners as well. You can follow the Facebook page at facebook.com/City of Newark or follow our Twitter at City of Newark, New Jersey, or you can follow Instagram at City of Newark, NJ. Or follow me on Twitter at Raz J. Baraka or Instagram at Raz J. Baraka as well. Thank you for listening and share this link with your social circles. Remember to tune into the next episode of Raz In 60 premiering Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. And use hashtag Raz In 60 if you'd like to ask questions or make comments about what you've heard on this show today or any other day. And remember, you will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. Maya Angelou. God bless y'all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
For honoring me, yeah.
Thank you. Let's get a quick photo.